Altcoin market cap hovering just below all-time highs, potentially getting rejection right now. Ethereum, new data suggesting that the rotation has begun from Bitcoin into Ethereum and altcoins and ADA. I need to go over some ADA charts, and I want to compare ADA, and you will be very surprised what we look at in this video. I want to compare it to AVAX, Doge, Chainlink, Sui, and Solana. And I think it's going to really help kind of illustrate a very broad macro picture for Cardano, and it might give you a little bit of a different perspective in terms of not just Cardano, but altcoins in general. Hit the subscribe and like on the way in. If you're not in our intelligence system, if you're a macro investor, get back into our intelligence system, get access to our risk models, start planning your exits in our exit planners with our risk models, and start strategizing and setting up your exit strategy to take profit when we get the bull move. Keyword, when we get the bull move, because we've not gotten it yet. Now, before we dive into all of these things, I want to go over a post that I saw over here. Now, this is Raul Pal. I don't always agree with a lot of this content, but this data screams something that is so important as I start this video. You're either zoomed in from day to day, even month to month, or you're a macro investor in the crypto space like I am. When I do my analysis on all of these charts and even things like fundamentals of something like Cardano, I'm very zoomed out. I'm a macro value investor. Crypto is still being adopted at twice the speed of the internet, from 5 million IP addresses versus 5 million wallets. And that will take it from $4 trillion in market cap today to $100 trillion by 2032, 2034. That's the game I'm playing. And even if you want to play the game kind of in between of the short term and this kind of longer term look, there's so much opportunity there. But he says, all you care about is if September is going to be weak. You can't be saved from yourself if that is your mindset. This is the comparison versus 2017. This is Bitcoin 2017. Just look at it. And 2017 cycle is a very interesting cycle to compare to. There's a lot of similarities. But even for this cycle, I think what is suggestive is, besides just how macro bullish the crypto space is, multi-year, multi-cycle, even this cycle, we are still very bullish. So we can start looking at kind of the price action of altcoins this cycle. And then I want to dive over and look at this ADA, Cardano data as we compare it to other chains. So here is the total crypto market cap. This is excluding Bitcoin. And I want to show this quick clip. This is from, what was this from? This was not long ago, August 18th, like around a couple of weeks ago. Check this out real fast. Analysis. Keep that in mind as we're looking at this little consolidation phase. Here's the moving average on the RSI. My question is, are we going to get a little revisit, pull into that area, very similar to kind of how it pulled into the RSI area back here? And then it was boom, altcoin season. Are we going to get something similar? Is that the setup? We'll get a hint of that on the... So now we are in September. There's been some consolidation so far. You know, from doing that video even, you can just see this, the weekly chart. If I kind of zoom in a little bit, you can just see on this weekly chart, altcoins have been just falling a little bit. And the question is, are we going to fall even lower, right? We have this 20-week moving average, which was a very similar move prior to the altcoin season last cycle. What would be very interesting for altcoins is you see these previous swing lows, boom, boom. We keep revisiting that 200-week moving average. One confirmation of a potential altcoin season and entering a new era of strength for altcoins, altcoin season, would be if we actually get support at like this 20 and 50-week moving average area, as opposed to, man, another swing low meeting the 200-week somewhere down there. This could be a very interesting area. Now, in the short term, couple weeks of September, all of September, I will be watching this RSI as I talked about in this video. We might need to consolidate. Let's see what happens at the moving average area on this RSI. The consolidation kind of within this red rectangle that we drew, and you can just see there's still some more downside to this RSI line on the, or this moving average line on the RSI. Do we see support there? Do we fall there? I don't know, but this is something I'm going to be monitoring for the altcoin charts right now. The Ethereum data that I think that we should really pay attention to, even as we're analyzing altcoin charts, specific altcoins, this altcoin market cap chart, the Ethereum data, as we see Ethereum hovering just around all-time highs, right? That I want to look at is this. This Bitcoin OG has sold 4,000 Bitcoin and bought around 96,000 Ethereum, 433 million spot over the past 12 hours. Now, this post was from like August 31st. This was yesterday. In total, he has bought 837,429 Ethereum. I saw this kind of commentary on that post that I wanted to share with you. Just a couple pieces. Bunch of OG wallets waking up lately, and you guessed it, rotating billions of dollars of their Bitcoin into ETH, which was proclaimed dead by crypto Twitter just a few months ago. And it's so true. If you go look at the Ethereum chart, everybody, I was bullish down here, right? I was even bullish on this potential busted pattern setup when we were breaking this pattern back here, if you remember, if you watch my analysis. And now here we are. We're all the way up at $4,300 after visiting $1,400. So please keep in mind, who's doing objective, cycle-based, data-based analysis versus who's emotional out there. But starts with majors, but works its way down to smaller alts for a full-blown alt season post-Bitcoin top. This is just a taste of what's to come. And by the way, I don't think we've seen a Bitcoin top either. We look at all of these risk models. Here's the altcoin risk model. Look at this swing high around 33 in risk score, another swing high 33 in risk score, and then right now we just kind of went to 30 again in risk score. We keep hitting like this 30 area, which is completely like this very low risk score area anywhere for altcoins, and then we consolidate. We've not gotten the bull market for altcoins yet. That's what one of our risk models here, the altcoin risk model, is suggesting. Now, these are proprietary risk models that our users will be using to plan their exits when things do get crazy, to start selling. But check out Bitcoin, same exact thing, hitting this very similar 60s area and then kind of consolidating. And this is very similar to what kind of just happened on the Bitcoin. I don't even know if it hit 60 this time, but right now it's consolidating once again. We could see we hit 59. And now we're consolidating once again. We're at a 48 risk score. Look at cycles. We've not even hit the Bitcoin top. Interestingly enough, Ethereum is starting to gain that kind of accumulation and adoption. And I think we very, very strongly are still an accumulation zone for crypto in general. Let's look at Cardano. I want to look at Cardano charts. I probably should do like a full-blown Cardano video, but I've been a little critical of Cardano, especially on X lately. I was just posting this yesterday. I'm just saying integrate Chainlink, get USDT or USDC. I can see a lot of people begin to give up on ADA if we keep talking about doing these things, but never actually do them. I'm a Cardano bull, and I still am for many different reasons, but I have to be very clear. Like, just because I'm a Cardano bull doesn't mean I'm a perma bull, doesn't mean I won't ignore things that are concerning to me. One thing that has been concerning and frustrating to me and so many others is Cardano hasn't integrated Chainlink. Cardano has not gotten a stablecoin like USDT. This is, in my view, unacceptable for this top 10 chain. It is so well positioned because of its security and decentralization approach. It is the most decentralized crypto. It's a top 10. And it is community driven. It is incredibly secure and scalable. If we had Chainlink and something like USDT, Cardano would be like in an insane point right now. It doesn't have these things. It is still very bullish, but I'm going to speak out on these things when they happen. There's ridiculous not to kind of at least voice my concerns, and objectively so. I'm not just going to be blindly bullish on Cardano at all times. These things need to be taken care of. I don't know how it's going to happen, but they really need to be taken care of. Organizations, leadership has failed in this regard, in my very humble opinion. So I said that, and a lot of people are out there, man, Dan's turning bearish on Cardano. And I will say, it is very frustrating. But every coin is going to have their frustrating things that are going on. But with that being said, I do want to just show you something that kind of, if you put all of this aside, shows you the way in which crypto space moves and why Cardano is probably going to be a very strong performer this cycle anyway, regardless of what happens here, because this is what crypto does. So here's a Cardano chart. I went back a year, or I'm sorry. So far from January. So January 2025, right? Cardano's down like 3% or so. Cardano's such a loser coin, right? Everything's outperforming Cardano, right? Isn't that what's going on? That's what we see everywhere. Well, look at AVAX. AVAX down around 32%. And you might be like, well, come on, AVAX is AVAX. Why are you comparing it to Cardano? Well, that's a terrible coin too. All right, let's go to kind of the institutional darling meme coin for, this cycle, Dogecoin down 30% for 2025. Okay, that's a meme coin. Why are you comparing that to Cardano? Well, let's look at Chainlink. We looked at this kind of the other day. Chainlink, I think, is up a little bit, but you can just see Cardano's down a few percent. Chainlink is up like 15% or so since January 2025. Chainlink has the most massive narratives going for it right now, and it's basically side by side with Cardano performance for 2025. How's that possible? It's because there are narratives, of course. There are fundamentals, of course. And these things do feed and fuel, a lot of the growth. But for something like Cardano, and we're going to look at Sui and Solana too, but something like Cardano, it has narratives even besides the Chainlink needing to be integrated and stables being, those are just these things that if they had it, Cardano would be an absolute powerhouse. But even though it doesn't have it, it still has something that these other chains don't. And that is this decentralization, this security factor that is incredibly important and will prove itself in the long term. So from a macro value play, Cardano has something special, even without those things. But it is so frustrating that these things are not here, and they should be. And they could so easily be so if all the ADA that is in the treasury, all the ADA that's been available over the years, and all the time that we've had, this just should be done. It just should be done. But let's continue looking at this. Sui, a VC coin, which is going to perform so well, I think, when we get the bull move, is down 20% from January 2025. ADA for this year has been massively outperforming Sui, right? And this is a VC coin, has so much hype around it. Where's all the hate against Sui, how it's a terrible performer? And then you go to even Solana, another VC coin. It is up maybe 6%. So yeah, it's up a little bit more than Cardano, but it's basically side by side with Cardano performance. Do you see how it's very easy to get wrapped up in narratives and get wrapped up in, man, so many people are just talking trash about Cardano. It's doing so bad. It must be so. Just, you have to look at the data. And I'm going to dig into this, I think, in a specific Cardano video to talk about this more, but focus on the data. Dig into it yourself. And I just did very simply, and you can see Cardano's not underperforming. Cardano's just chilling. That doesn't mean that Cardano shouldn't be, implementing very important things. And it does not mean that Cardano holders like myself can't be frustrated. It's okay to be frustrated. We could hold something like Ethereum and be frustrated with certain things, or any other coin. Solana, we could be frustrated when it goes down or has gone down, right? Like, there's always something going on, but focus on the data, focus on the price action. When it comes to altcoins in general, all of these altcoins, no matter what you hold, we are hovering around all-time highs. And you can focus on what's going to happen in September. Maybe we're red. Maybe we fall lower. We're going down all the way to this 20-week, the 50-week. We could go higher low and meet the 200-week at $1 trillion or below $1 trillion. If you're a macro investor, you can handle even that because you have this longer term kind of approach. And that's kind of where I'm coming from right now. And that's how I will continue to track these markets. But right now, I think we're entering a very strong kind of narrative for crypto as a whole as we round up Q3 into Q4 and even into early 2026 from a business cycle standpoint. And this is a zoomed out game that I'm playing. And this is also why I built these risk models, our intelligence system. So if you would like to check us out, please join us. We have a free trial going on right now. You can try us out, and we have some really cool things that we'll be implementing soon. We just implemented the dashboard, a custom dashboard where you can really just build your own widgets or add your widgets and customize everything that's back there. So those are my thoughts today. I wanted to kind of go over a lot of these things, these charts, Cardano, Ethereum, the rotation into Ethereum. There's a lot going on, but I think playing the long game and just having a bigger picture perspective is very important. So hit the subscribe, hit the like if you enjoyed this video. I will see you all in the next video. God bless.